I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today. And
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted.
Stepping into that hearing felt like watching truth cut through confusion the way iron sharpens iron. The moment Ilhan Omar questioned whether pay cuts exist in the real world, the room shifted. And before anyone could blink, the businesswoman beside me unleashed an economics masterclass, so sharp the entire chamber erupted in laughter. One question, one lesson, and suddenly Omar was back in school, getting schooled by reality.
Thank you, Chair. Representative O'Neill, I'm just wondering, are there... I was a union member for a long time, and I've also gotten an opportunity to work in the private sector. And I'm curious to know if you know of any employer that has a provision where they decrease pay for employees. I find that a little strange, and so I just wanted to know where that thought comes from, and if you know where an employee gets their pay decreased.
Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I was a business owner. I recently sold my share, so I don't own it anymore, but there are plenty of businesses out there, especially those that depend on employees' productivity, like I was in the trades. So I owned a company that was a tile setting company, and if we didn't get out there and do the work, and if I didn't have highly productive employees, they were paid based on their productivity. So if they had issues, it is very possible that their pay would reflect those issues. If they were on probation for something, for some sort of violation, that could be coordinated with a pay reduction. It's something that businesses do all the time, and it could be the step before someone is actually fired. So it's an important thing, and it gets people's attention, when they see it in their paycheck that their performance does not meet the standard.
Representative Omar.
Hudson, I think did you have something?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Hudson? Was there a question for Mr. Hudson?
No, I think he was saying that he wanted to add something, so I didn't know if he had something to add.
Mr. Hudson, is there a response to the question? Do you have a response to that question?
Madam Chair, yes, ma'am.
Saying that you aren't aware of any businesses that decrease pay? Because that was the question.
Madam Chair, I think what Chair O'Neill perhaps could be referring to, there are some instances where the pay structure is different. So for an example, she'd indicated that she had come out of the towel industry. I'm not sure if these were commissioned employees who may have been on like an 80-20 split. In that instance, there is a situation where a pay might be reduced. Or if we have a supervisor who perhaps had a performance improvement issue or a behavioral concern, and we demoted this supervisor, that is an instance where pay might be decreased. But just an employee who has not been under some sort of performance improvement program having their pay reduced, I've never heard of that.
Well, Mr. Hudson, I think Representative Neal knows exactly what she says. And I think we've had a little conversation back here when the question was asked. I know Representative Uglem, do you want to speak to that point?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Omar, if you happen to be a salesman in this world, and you can be selling cars, you could be selling siding, you could be selling just about anything, and you are paid on commission. So if you don't sell anything, you don't make anything. So you can have good years, you can have bad years. Probably really one of the best examples is a real estate agent. So it's the idea that people can make less money year to year, not to mention all the bonus situations that are out there in industry. It happens. It happens a lot. It doesn't necessarily happen, here in the public sector, but it's pervasive and very, very common in the private sector. Thank you.
And I'd like to add that in the private sector as well, people, if they are not performing at their job, get demoted, and with that demotion comes a pay cut. And that's not even related to being in a commission position, that's just in a regular position as well. Representative Omar.
I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted, and then you get a pay cut with it. So I just want to make
Walking
sure
into that hearing, the atmosphere already felt tense, like everyone sensed a storm was building. Then Representative Omar leaned forward and asked the kind of question that instantly freezes an entire room. Do employers actually decrease pay for poor performance? The silence that followed was so heavy you could practically hear common sense begging to be let in. Before the shock could settle, the businesswoman, Representative Barb O'Neill, jumped in. Her response came with the confidence of someone who's actually signed paychecks and built something real. She explained that in the private sector, productivity isn't suggestion. It's the backbone of every paycheck. When performance drops, pay can drop too. Simple. But Omar kept pressing, almost as if she thought the private sector operated on vibes and good intentions. A political proverb flashed into my mind. A tree is known by its fruit. And in that moment, the fruit of real-world experience spoke louder than any speech ever could. O'Neill broke it down plainly. Employees who slack don't get rewarded. They get corrected. Sometimes that correction looks like probation. Sometimes it looks like a demotion. And yes, sometimes it includes a pay cut. Then Mr. Hudson chimed in, sounding like a teacher trying not to laugh at a student who skipped the textbook. He reminded everyone that in business, a demotion always carries consequences. Fewer responsibilities, fewer dollars. That's not cruelty. That's structure. That's accountability. That's reality. But Omar still pushed back. She insisted it seemed strange, as though business owners around the country had secretly rewritten the laws of economics. That's when Representative Uglum delivered the knockout explanation. Commission jobs, sales industries, real estate bonuses, performance-based earnings. In all those fields, income rises and falls with effort. Work produces reward. Laziness produces loss. Another political proverb came to mind. You reap what you sow. The room couldn't hold it anymore. Laughter broke out. Not cruel laughter, but the kind that bubbles up when someone realizes a lesson being taught is so basic it shouldn't have needed explaining. The businesswoman delivered one final line, reminding Omar that even non-commissioned jobs see pay cuts when people are demoted for poor performance. By then, the message was undeniable. In the real world, pay follows performance. Not wishes, not assumptions, results. The private sector doesn't run on political talking points. It runs on productivity. And on that day, one intelligent businesswoman didn't just answer Omar's question. She sent her right back to school with the entire chamber watching.